Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be going over 15 interesting facts about RuneScape, Old School RuneScape, and even RuneScape Classic. These are going to be little tidbits of information about RuneScape history. They could be useful tips or anything about the game that most people don't know about. Anyway, I hope you enjoy and let's get started. Now first up here, one of the more interesting facts about minigames is actually the Gnome Restaurant minigame was one of the very first games to be developed, and initially it was to be released with the agility skill back in December of 2002. The original concept of the minigame was quite simple. You're just to bring multiple drinks or dishes to Blurberry or Luft Jian Sr., and then you were compensated with coins. However, this was later changed after a major update in 2006 to then become the Gnome Restaurant that we all know and love and never play today. Now we're coming up to 20 years that RuneScape has been around, and after all that time, a lot of things have changed. Throughout the years, updates, assets have changed, the whole game is different. However, one thing that has remained the same throughout the years is actually the red X and the yellow X that appears when you're walking somewhere or clicking on an object. This exact asset has been deemed perfect and has been the exact same for years now. Now, if you compare RuneScape Classic and RuneScape 3 in your head, what besides that is actually the same? It is such a different game. The graphics are almost all entirely different. The content is all different. Old content that is even in it has been drastically changed, except for the colored X's. Now, do you guys remember in the Animal Magnetism quest, there is that really funny cutscene where a random player called Cow Leet Killer comes in and destroys an old cow? Well, I definitely do. However, that is not actually his only appearance in RuneScape. During the 2017 birthday event, Cow Leet Killer attends Party Pete's birthday bash, and towards the end of the event, he kills a mugger. Another interesting aspect about his name is while he's definitely a parody of a player, his name is actually too long for a legitimate player to take, as the length of the name exceeds the 12-character limit. Now, one of the most iconic grinds for early game Ironman is going for a rune scimitar. And the most common way to do that is by killing fire giants after you have completed the waterfall quest, as they drop them at a rate of 1 out of 128, which is fairly common. However, did you know that there's actually an easily accessible monster that has a much more common drop rate of it, and it has under half of the hit points? Well, that is the Zamrak Warrior. The Zamrak Warrior is guarding the Urania altar, and it currently drops a rune scimitar at a rate of 1 out of 50, and on top of that only has 50 hit points when you compare that to fire giants that they have 111. And to top that off, they have a much lower max hit of 8, which makes this overall a much easier monster to kill, and it drops them at a much higher rate, making it the easiest way to get a rune scimitar in the game. Now, back before the random event rework, there used to be 3 random events that did things quite differently, and they were the 3 brothers Niles, Miles, or Giles. Now, before their rework, the brothers would give you 4 warnings, and if the players had ignored them for all of that time, he teleported the player to a random event, as well as turned their entire inventory and equipment into banknotes. Now, a lot of players found that extremely annoying, so it eventually was removed. However, some players actually would take advantage of this by dropping any items they wish to remain unnoted, and then purposely incorrectly answering the brother 4 times so that it would note their raw materials or anything else that they wanted to be noted. Now, one very minimally useful tip I have is actually to do with banks. Now, I have never noticed this before. However, when you click on the bank teller and right click hit bank, you'll actually open the bank interface 1 tick quicker than if you click on the bank stall just left clicking it. I'm not sure if this is just because you can access the banker at a closer range and you don't have to walk as far, or just some inbuilt part of the game. For whatever reason, when you right click and bank on the banker, you actually will access it quicker. Kind of a weird tip and probably won't actually end up saving you too much time. But if you're really into doing a certain scaling method, it could end up saving you a bit of time overall. So I think it's worth mentioning. Now, one of the largest misconceptions in RuneScape is actually about the Graceful Set. Now, what most people think the Graceful Set does is restore your energy quicker while you're running or standing, and that is only partially true. The 30% extra restoration only applies itself when you are standing still, which actually limits the usefulness of the Graceful Set in quite a few activities. When you are questing and running, you are not getting any extra benefit from the Graceful Set beyond the weight reduction part of it. The set effect is almost always not actually in use when you are questing and running around, when you're skilling and running around, only when you are standing. Now, there is an item in the game that a lot of people don't really use, but it's called the Poison Chalice. It's obtained from a miner in the Koltrek area by the name of Stankers. One of the Gower brothers' friends was actually named Stankers, and the Koltrek operator was actually named after him in RuneScape Classic. And the Poison Chalice drink is added in honor, as he had a hobby of inventing cocktails by that name and giving them out. And for those who don't know, the Poison Chalice has a bunch of different effects that can happen. It can reduce your hit points by 5%, it can increase your hit points by 15%, and it can even give you an extra thieving level, a very random potion, but actually based on some real world events. Now, most people have entered the Tomb of Galadriel. Maybe that's not her name, maybe that's the Lord of the Rings character, but anyway, you know who I'm talking about. And one of the defining features of this dungeon is you can't bring in any weapons, armor, or runes. However, when rune packs were added, there was actually a bit of an exploit that you could do to bring runes in there and kill the moss giants, because at any point you could open up rune packs and get the equivalent number of runes. This was eventually fixed and rune packs are no longer available. Okay, next up here I have a money saving tip. You know Tina, who was the bartender in the Rising Sun Inn? Of course you know Tina. Who doesn't know Tina? Well, normally she will sell you potions for 3 coins each, which, I mean, it's a bit pricey when you think about it. However, if you use coins directly on Tina, she will respond with thanks, and get this, she will only take 1 coin. That is 1/3 of the price for Dwarven Stouts, Wizard Mind Bomb, and Asgardian Ales. Really, truly a steal. Now next up here, the Amir Shield is actually one of the best offhand mage shields for quite a bit of the early game, as there just really aren't a lot of mage offhands that are easily accessible. The Amir Shield offers pretty decent magical defense bonuses, has a very low requirement to obtain, and has no magic attack penalties or anything like that, making it probably one of the best options beyond the Anti-Dragon Shield in the early game, as getting any of the mage's books, the Malediction Ward, or anything more can be quite challenging, especially if you are an Ironman. Now when you're doing the Monkey Madness quest, you will get a bunch of different Gree-Grees for completing the quest, and you can use them when you are done. At one point you need to break into the zoo as a monkey. However, if you happen to bring the zombie monkey Gree-Gree, the Ardoon Zoo Minder will not actually allow you in the monkey cage, as he believes that you are sick, as you are dressed up as a zombie monkey. Just the attention to detail is one of my favorite parts of this game, and the fact that some things are still being discovered right now just goes to show how much time was put into designing it. Now, I just learned a tip the other day that would have actually saved me quite a bit of time recently, and that is getting the Hosidius House favor. Now, by far the easiest and most effective way to get it is by combining the sulfur and the compost together. So I was trying to one-tick the method, as it saves quite a bit of time. However, the way I had my inventory set up was not ideal. There's actually a really easy way to do this. Now, when you first withdraw items from your inventory, they're going to be organized from top to bottom. However, if you organize them into 4 different columns, top to bottom, you can actually combine them together rather quickly, and if you deposit them correctly and withdraw them correctly, you won't actually have to organize your inventory again. First up, you want to withdraw 14 more compost, and then go ahead and deposit your finished product, and then withdraw the sulfur. That way your inventory is still organized the way you want it, and overall it's going to save you quite a bit of time when you're creating the sulfur. Now, back in RuneScape Classic, some of our, classic skills had different names. The first one was Prayer, which was originally called Necromancy. Kind of ironic that we now have some sort of necromancy with prayer. And the other one was Herblore, which is originally called Herblaw. I think I prefer the new name, but it's kind of hard to tell if I'm just used to it now, or if the old name was kind of dumb. And the last up here is another fact from RuneScape Classic. So originally when the skill capes were released, they were coming into the game an achievement of hundreds and hundreds of hours. And you know what? They were actually tradable, and you could just give them away to other players, which I think anyone in the right mind could see why that's not a good idea, as it's supposed to be a sign of accomplishment. Only players that put in hundreds of hours could get these skill capes, but I mean, if they're tradable, kind of devalues the whole thing, and it was quickly fixed to make them untradable. Anyway guys, that is going to be it for today's video. That is 15 unknown or weird facts about old school RuneScape, RuneScape Classic, or maybe even RS3, although probably not. If you're interested in any other videos like this, I do have 5 other fact videos that I will link in the description. And if you think I've missed an important RuneScape fact that I have not covered yet, please leave a comment down below. I'm always interested to learn more. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I would appreciate it if you left it a like, and I will see you next time.